What you are about to hear is not just the story of an ancient city. It is the story of a place that once lived and then disappeared from the world, as if swallowed by time, forest, and silence. A place so high above the clouds that even modern civilization forgot it was ever there. Hidden deep within the mist-covered peaks of the Andes Mountains, something extraordinary still stands. Something that should not have survived for centuries. A stone city. Silent, secluded, and almost untouched by time. Its name is Machu Picchu. But before we reach the moment when the modern world rediscovered it, we must go back, far back, to when this city was still alive. Imagine a civilization without iron tools, without modern engineering, without written records as we know them today, yet capable of building structures so precise that massive stones fit together perfectly, without mortar, without gaps, not even enough space to slide a piece of paper between them. Imagine a city built more than 2,400 meters above sea level, where clouds do not just pass through, they live there. This was not an accident. It was a creation, a deliberate masterpiece carved into the spine of the mountains. Over 5 centuries ago, during the height of the Inca Empire, a ruler known as Pachacuti is believed to have commissioned the construction of this extraordinary place. A ruler who did not see mountains as obstacles, but as sacred beings. To the Inca civilization, mountains were not lifeless stone. They were gods, guardians, living forces of nature. And Machu Picchu was not built as an ordinary city. It was built as a sacred space, a bridge between humans and the heavens. Yet one of its greatest mysteries is this. There are no written records that fully explain its purpose. No surviving blueprints, no definitive explanation left behind. Only stone, only architecture, and silence. The city is divided into distinct zones, agricultural terraces carved into steep slopes, residential structures, ceremonial temples, and astronomical observatories aligned with the sky. Every part of it seems to be designed for something beyond survival. Something spiritual, something cosmic. It feels less like a city built for daily life and more like a place built to communicate with something greater than humanity itself. But the story of Machu Picchu is not only about its creation. It is about its disappearance. When the Inca Empire began to collapse in the 16th century after the arrival of Spanish conquistadors, many cities were destroyed, abandoned, or hidden. War, disease, and colonization reshaped the entire region of South America. And during this chaos, Machu Picchu was gradually abandoned. Not destroyed, not conquered, but simply left behind. As the world around it changed too quickly, the city slowly faded into isolation. The forest began to reclaim it. Trees grew between stone walls. Roots wrapped around ancient foundations. Mist swallowed its pathways. And in time, the city stopped being a city. It became a legend. For centuries, it remained hidden from the outside world. Unknown to Europe, unrecorded by modern science, forgotten by global maps, and yet still standing quietly above the clouds. Until 1911, when an American historian and explorer named Hiram Bingham traveled into the Andes Mountains. He was not originally searching for Machu Picchu. He was searching for Vilcabamba, the last stronghold of the Inca resistance. But history rarely follows intention. Guided by local inhabitants, Bingham was led through dense jungle paths, climbing higher and higher into the mountains, until the fog began to open. and something appeared before him. Stone structures rising from the earth, terraces cascading down the mountainside like giant steps carved into the sky. Walls still standing after centuries of abandonment. In that moment, time seemed to pause, because what he had found was not just ruins. It was a lost city, a civilization frozen in stone. But for the local Andean people, this was never a discovery. They had always known it existed. And this is one of the great ironies of Machu Picchu. It was never truly lost, only forgotten by the outside world. After its rediscovery, the world turned its attention to the site. Archaeologists arrived, photographers arrived, scientists began studying its construction, its purpose, and its survival in such an extreme environment. And slowly, its secrets began to emerge. The stones of Machu Picchu were shaped using a technique known as ashlar masonry, where blocks are carved with such precision that they interlock perfectly, without any binding material. This technique made the structures remarkably resistant to earthquakes. Instead of collapsing, the buildings would shift slightly, then settle back into place. A form of engineering so advanced that even modern architects continue to study it with admiration. But the biggest question still remains. Why build a city in such a remote, difficult, and dangerous location? Some believe it was a royal estate. Others believe it was a spiritual retreat. Some suggest it was an astronomical observatory or training center for Inca elites. And even today, there is no universal agreement. Machu Picchu remains an enigma. And perhaps that is what makes it timeless. Because the more we try to understand it, the more questions it creates. At sunrise, when light first touches the Andes, the entire city transforms. Shadows stretch across ancient stone pathways. Mist rises slowly from the valleys below. And the ruins seem to awaken once again, as if waiting for something or someone to understand them. The language of stone, the language of mountains, the language of the sky. Time does not behave the same way here. There are no clocks in Machu Picchu, only cycles. Sunrise, rain, fog, wind, repeating endlessly for centuries. And standing among it all, modern humans try to interpret something that was never meant to be fully decoded. Because Machu Picchu is not just history. It is mystery. A reminder that human civilization is capable of extraordinary achievement, even without modern technology. A reminder that architecture and nature can exist in perfect harmony. Yet also a reminder of how fragile human presence truly is. A city once full of life, now silent. Steps once filled with voices, now covered in moss and wind. Temples once filled with ritual, now open only to the sky. And yet, nothing is truly gone. It has only changed form, from life to history. From history to legend. From legend to mystery. Today, Machu Picchu stands as one of the most iconic archaeological sites in the world. But even with millions of visitors each year, it still holds something that cannot be captured by cameras. Something that cannot be fully explained by science. Something that can only be felt when you stand there in silence. When the wind moves through the mountains. When clouds drift across ancient stone walls. And when you realize you are standing in a place that once disappeared from the world. And maybe one day, we will fully understand Machu Picchu. Or maybe we will not. And perhaps that is the point. Because some places are not meant to be completely solved. They are meant to be remembered, and to remind us of one question that still lingers through time. How could something so alim, great, be lost for so long in a world that never stopped moving?